Hi guys, so today I'll be talking about the Crusaders. The Crusaders existed in the early church from the 11th century to the 14th century. Now, as a girl born into a family that was deeply steeped in that is deeply steeped in the Catholic Church, I have an idea about it. I have a lot of ideas about church history, but I'm not going to depend on my ideas. We're going to do some research and get some facts. Why the Crusades were created? The Crusades began in the late 11th century, around 1095. They were originally religious military campaigns launched by Western European Christians, primarily under the authority of the Pope. What was the main reason why the Crusades were created? They were created for religious motivation. Pope Urban II called the First Crusade at the Council of Clermont in 1095, urging Christians to reclaim Jerusalem and the Holy Land from Muslim control. Jerusalem was sacred to Christians because it was the site of Jesus' crucifixion and resurrection. Second reason, defense and pilgrimage. At first, it was presented as a defensive war to protect Eastern Christians in the Byzantine Empire, who were under pressure from Muslim armies, and to secure safe pilgrimage routes to the Holy Land. The third reason, the promise of a spiritual reward. The church promised forgiveness of sins, indulgences, to those who fought in the Crusades, a powerful spiritual incentive in the deeply religious age. So at the start, the Crusades were portrayed as a holy mission to defend the faith, to help fellow Christians, and to honor God. How the Crusades became corrupted. Over time, the Crusades drifted far from their original ideas. Political power, wealth, and greed began to mix with religious fervor. Key ways in which they went wrong. Violence and greed replaced devotion. Many crusaders were motivated not by faith, but by plunder, land, and prestige. Looting became common, even against fellow Christians. 2. Attacks on other Christians. One of the worst examples was the Fourth Crusade between the year 1202 to 1204. Instead of fighting Muslims, Crusaders attacked Constantinople, a Christian city, and sacked it brutally. This caused a massive rift between the Roman Catholic and Eastern Orthodox churches, a betrayal of the supposed purpose. 3. Abuse of power. Crusader leaders often acted as conquerors rather than liberators. They set up Crusader states like the Kingdom of Jerusalem and ruled harshly, exploiting locals rather than protecting them. 4. Religious hypocrisy. The idea of fighting for God became an excuse for massacres, enslavement, and forced conversions. Actions completely opposite to the teachings of Christ. For example, the massacre of Muslims and Jews in Jerusalem during the First Crusade was horrific. 4. Later Crusades lost all sense of purpose. Later Crusades weren't even about the Holy Land. Some were directed against heretics, rival Christian sects, or even political enemies of the Pope. Crusade became a label for religiously justified violence. The aftermath. By the 14th century, the Crusade had lost credibility. They left a legacy of deep mistrust between Christians, Muslims, and Jews, and they showed how religious zeal mixed with politics can lead to corruption and cruelty. The original vision, protecting pilgrims and honoring Christ, was distorted into conquest and empire building. Thank you for listening. For more stories about the church or history, please like and subscribe.